A girl grabbed the wrong coat in the lobby, only to find a billion-dollar access card in the pocket. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. It all started on a cold, rainy afternoon in downtown New York City. The kind of day when the streets were slick with water, the gray sky hung low, and the usual hustle of the city felt muted under the soft patter of rain. In the grand lobby of one of the city's most exclusive hotels, the air was warm and inviting, filled with the soft hum of conversations and the clinking of glasses. Emma, a young woman in her early 20s, stood at the threshold, feeling out of place in her worn, second-hand coat and scuffed shoes. She was there for a meeting that could change her life, but as she scanned the luxurious surroundings, the weight of her reality pressed down on her. Her heart raced. She was no stranger to feeling small in such spaces, but today, something felt different. She adjusted her scarf nervously, glancing at her reflection in the lobby's polished glass doors. Her reflection stared back at her, a stark contrast to the polished elegance around her. Emma was just another struggling artist, barely scraping by, with dreams of someday opening her own art studio. But for now, she had to make the best of the opportunity. She had promised her best friend Jenny she would attend this meeting, even though deep down, she was unsure of what to expect. As she moved further into the lobby, her eyes darted to the sleek, dark coat hanging over a chair nearby. Without thinking, she grabbed it, assuming it was hers. She quickly slipped it on, hoping it would keep her warm until her meeting began. But as she adjusted the collar, she felt something strange in the coat pocket. A card. Curious, she pulled it out. It was a sleek, black card with a silver emblem. The words, $billion access, were embossed in gold. Emma froze, her heart skipping a beat. She didn't know what it was or what it meant, but the card felt important. She quickly stuffed it back into the pocket, trying to brush off the strange feeling it gave her. It wasn't until she entered the elevator to head to her meeting that she realized her mistake. This was not her coat. She had grabbed the wrong one. Panic surged through her. She wanted to turn back, to return the coat, but something told her to wait. Maybe it was the card, or maybe it was the chance that life had just handed her. Either way, she had already gone too far. The elevator doors opened, and she stepped into the conference room, her mind still reeling from the odd discovery. But as she sat down, waiting for her meeting to begin, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of something much bigger than she had ever imagined. Emma sat quietly in the conference room, her heart still racing from the odd turn of events. The sleek black card that she had found in the pocket of the coat seemed to pulse with mystery, as if it was silently begging to be understood. She had already made a mental note to return the coat, but part of her couldn't help but be intrigued. She had been told this meeting was important, but she didn't expect this strange encounter to become a part of it. The door opened, and a tall man walked in, his presence commanding attention. He was well-dressed, his suit perfectly tailored, and his eyes seemed to carry a weight of experience beyond his years. He looked around the room for a moment before his gaze landed on Emma. "You must be Emma Brooks," he said, his voice low and steady. Emma stood, a little startled by the formality of his approach. "Yes, that's me," she replied, trying to sound composed despite the swirl of confusion in her mind. "It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Liam Parker." The name didn't register immediately, but the way he spoke suggested that it was one that should. He extended his hand, and Emma shook it, feeling the firm grip of someone who was used to being in control. "I'm sorry about the mix-up earlier with the coat," she said, feeling the need to apologize, even though it wasn't really her fault. Liam smiled slightly, as if the situation amused him. "No harm done. I'm just glad you found it before anyone else did." Emma nodded, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something more was going on here. She had grabbed the wrong coat, yes, but now it seemed as though that mistake was leading her down a path she hadn't expected. "I understand you're interested in the opportunity we discussed," Liam continued, pulling a chair out across from her and sitting down. "We've been looking for someone with your background." Emma blinked, her heart skipping. She had sent in her resume weeks ago, But she didn't realize this was the moment it was all coming to fruition. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure I understand, she stammered. What opportunity are you referring to? Liam's expression softened just slightly, as if he were impressed by her honesty. The one you're here for today, he said. We've been following your work. Your passion for art, your commitment to the cause. It aligns with something we're looking to expand. A role in our creative division, if you're open to it. Emma's mind raced. Creative division? This was a tech company, wasn't it? I'm not sure I follow, she said again, struggling to make sense of the words. I'm an artist, and I've been working to find a way to open my own studio. I don't have experience in tech or anything like that. Liam nodded thoughtfully, as if he had anticipated her hesitation. That's the beauty of it. We're looking for someone who thinks outside the box. Someone who isn't bound by conventional thinking. Your portfolio shows that you don't just follow trends, you create them. That's exactly what we need. Emma felt a little dizzy. She had always known she had the potential to do something big with her art, but to hear a tech mogul like Liam Parker speak about her like this, it felt surreal. He continued, I know this must all sound a little overwhelming, but that's why I wanted to meet you in person. To see the person behind the art. I believe in your vision, Emma. She had no idea what to say. She had come here just to meet someone, to have a conversation, never imagining she'd be offered a job at such a prestigious company. But there was something about Liam's demeanor that made her think this wasn't just a random encounter. This was intentional. He was offering her more than just a position. He was offering her a chance to change her life. The card in her pocket suddenly felt heavier, as if the weight of the opportunity was now aligning with the weight of the mysterious object she had found. Could it be? Could this be the moment that everything changed? She swallowed hard, trying to clear the lump in her throat. What exactly would this role involve? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam leaned forward slightly, his eyes locked on hers with a serious intensity. It's not just a job, Emma. It's a chance to make an impact. You'll be working alongside some of the brightest minds in the industry, and you'll have the freedom to push boundaries in ways that most people can't. But you'll also need to be ready for challenges. Big ones. The seriousness in his voice made her pause. I'm ready, she said, though she wasn't entirely sure if she believed it herself. Good, he replied with a smile. I thought you might be. That's why I think you're the right fit. As they continued to talk, Emma's mind buzzed with possibilities. She had come here for a simple meeting, but now it seemed as though she had been handed a golden ticket. One that she wasn't sure she deserved, but was more than willing to take. She glanced down at the card in her pocket again, and for the first time, she realized that the wrong coat had led her to exactly where she needed to be. I've never been one to doubt myself, but as I stood there, staring at the polished office of Liam Parker's company, I felt a mix of emotions, excitement, fear, and disbelief. The offer that had come out of nowhere just days ago now felt more like a dream than reality. But there I was, standing in front of the building that housed the headquarters of one of the most successful tech companies in the world. I had a job interview to attend, but I still couldn't believe how my life had shifted in such a short time. The coat, the mysterious access card, and Liam's words all felt like pieces of a puzzle that was still coming together. As I entered the lobby, I could see the same high-end decor I had noticed the first time I stepped into this place. Sleek marble floors, towering glass walls, and the soft hum of a modern corporate atmosphere. I felt small, as I had in the beginning, but also oddly at peace with the uncertainty of it all. My phone buzzed, pulling me out of my thoughts. A message from Liam. Looking forward to seeing you in the meeting, Emma. Don't worry, just be yourself. I smiled at the reassurance. I had no idea why he trusted me so much, but it gave me the confidence to walk into the elevator and make my way to the conference room on the top floor. The elevator ride was quick, and I found myself standing in front of a heavy wooden door, feeling both nervous and exhilarated. As I stepped into the room, I saw Liam sitting at the head of a long conference table, his usual calm demeanor in place. He looked up, offering a welcoming smile. Emma, welcome, he said, gesturing for me to take a seat. It's great to have you here. Thank you, I replied, still unsure of what to expect. I have to admit, this is all a bit overwhelming. Liam chuckled softly. I understand, but you've got this. Let's talk about the role and how we think you can help us take this company to the next level. He slid a folder toward me, filled with documents. The meeting began, And as Liam spoke about the company's future, its vision, and the creative projects they were working on, I began to feel a spark of something new inside me. I had spent so much time in my own small world, focused on my art and dreams of opening a studio. But now, this felt like an entirely different kind of opportunity, one that could help me make an impact beyond what I had ever imagined. He talked about building teams, pushing boundaries, and changing the industry. And as he spoke, I realized this wasn't just about creating art. It was about innovation, about inspiring others, and leading change. I hadn't even realized how much I needed that kind of challenge. "We're not looking for just another employee," Liam said, his tone shifting slightly. "We want someone who can bring a fresh perspective, someone who isn't afraid to take risks, someone who can inspire the team to think bigger." I nodded slowly, taking in his words. He wasn't asking me to simply follow orders. He was asking me to help lead, to think like an entrepreneur, to create something that had the potential to reshape the industry. The idea was exciting, but also terrifying. Could I really do this? Could I step out of my comfort zone and take on something this big? But as I looked at Liam, something about his confidence in me made me feel like maybe, just maybe, I could. "I'm ready," I said, surprising even myself with the conviction in my voice. Liam smiled, clearly pleased with my response. "Good. I knew you would be. Welcome to the team, Emma." The weight of the moment hit me then. This wasn't just about landing a job. It was about a new chapter in my life, one that I had never imagined. I could feel the weight of the decision, but it wasn't heavy in the way I had feared. It felt like a weight that had purpose, a weight that would carry me towards something new, something important. As I left the meeting, my mind was buzzing with ideas. The coat, the card, and the strange meeting. It all seemed to have led me here, to this moment, to this opportunity. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was on the right path. I had no idea what the future held, but I was ready to take it on, to push boundaries, to inspire others, and maybe, just maybe, change my life forever. The days that followed felt like a blur. The moment Liam welcomed me into the team, everything started moving at an incredible pace. I was no longer just a struggling artist dreaming of a better life. Now, I had a role in a fast-paced tech company with some of the most brilliant minds in the industry. Every day felt like a new challenge, but also a new opportunity to grow and prove myself. The transition from working in a small cafe to sitting in strategy meetings with some of the biggest names in tech wasn't easy. I often caught myself feeling out of place, like I didn't belong in the sleek, modern offices with their floor-to-ceiling windows offering panoramic views of the city. But each time that thought crossed my mind, I reminded myself of the moment that had led me here, the moment I grabbed the wrong coat. The wrong coat had led me to this world, and for the first time, I could see a future where I could make an impact. Liam's team was unlike any I had ever encountered. Everyone was driven, focused, and incredibly talented. But there was something about them, something about the way they worked together, that made me feel like I could truly contribute. My role was to bring a fresh perspective to the company's creative division. At first, I was hesitant. I didn't have a background in tech. I didn't know the first thing about coding or building apps. But what I did know was creativity. I knew how to think outside the box, how to push boundaries and see things from a different angle. That's what they needed from me. And slowly, I began to find my place. Liam was a constant presence, guiding me, but also giving me the freedom to explore my ideas. He believed in me, and that belief was all I needed to push through my doubts. The more I worked with him and his team, the more I realized how much I had to offer. I was no longer just the girl with big dreams. I was becoming someone who could make those dreams come true. One evening, after another successful brainstorming session, I found myself alone in the office, going over some notes. Liam came in, his usual calm demeanor replacing the intensity of the day's meetings. "You've done great work, Emma," he said, leaning against the doorframe. "I've been watching you. You're not just getting by, you're thriving." I felt a warm flush spread across my face, and I tried to hide my smile. "Thanks, Liam. It means a lot coming from you." "I mean it," he continued, his voice softening. "You're bringing something unique to the table. You're not afraid to take risks, and that's what we need here." I nodded, feeling the weight of his words. The confidence he had in me wasn't just encouraging, it was empowering. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like I was playing catch-up. I was in control of my future. As the weeks went by, the company's projects took off, and I found myself more involved than ever before. My contributions were starting to be noticed, and I could see the impact of my ideas on the company's success. The access card I had found that day, tucked into the coat pocket, now felt like more than just a key to a room. It felt like a symbol of my place in this world. But even with all the progress I had made, there were moments of doubt. I often asked myself if I was truly ready for this new life. Was I worthy of this opportunity? Was I just pretending to be someone I wasn't? Liam must have sensed my inner turmoil. One afternoon, as we wrapped up a meeting, he pulled me aside. "I can tell you're having some doubts," he said, his voice quiet but firm. "But let me tell you something. I wouldn't have given you this opportunity if I didn't believe in you. You've earned your place here. Don't let anyone, including yourself, tell you otherwise." His words hit me harder than I expected. I had spent so much time questioning my worth, but here was someone who had seen something in me from the start, someone who believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. "Thank you, Liam," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I just needed to hear that." He smiled. "You've got this, Emma. Just remember why you're here. You're not just a creative thinker, you're a creator. That's who you've always been, and that's who you'll always be." His words stuck with me long after our conversation ended. For the first time, I didn't just see myself as a girl who got lucky by grabbing the wrong coat. I saw myself as someone who had earned her place in this world, a world I was slowly beginning to shape. And as the days went by, I knew one thing for sure. I was ready for whatever came next. As the weeks turned into months, I found myself more deeply embedded in the world I had once only dreamed of. The excitement of my new job at Liam's company had become a part of my routine, and with each passing day, I felt more at home. The fast-paced environment, the constant flow of ideas, and the undeniable energy of innovation surrounded me. And yet, amid all the success and recognition, I couldn't escape the quiet doubts that still lingered in my mind. Was I truly cut out for this life? Was this where I was supposed to be? One afternoon, after a particularly intense brainstorming session, I sat at my desk staring at my computer screen, lost in thought. I had just submitted a new proposal for a groundbreaking project that was set to revolutionize the company's creative division. Everyone had been excited about it, except for me. I couldn't shake the nagging feeling that I was still pretending to be someone I wasn't. The girl who had grabbed the wrong coat in the lobby was now walking in the shoes of someone who seemed to have it all together. But on the inside, I still felt like that same unsure person who had barely made it through art school. Liam noticed my distant expression and walked over to my desk, his usual calm demeanor replaced with something more observant. "You look like you're miles away, Emma," he said gently, pulling up a chair. I forced a smile, trying to shake off the overwhelming feeling. "Just thinking," I replied, tapping the edge of my desk with my pen. "I submitted that proposal today. Everyone seems excited about it, but I hesitated, unsure how to put my feelings into words. I just don't know if I'm really ready for this. What if I mess up?" Liam's gaze softened, and he leaned back in his chair. "I get it. You're in a new world now, and it's easy to feel out of place. But that's why we hired you, Emma. You bring something unique to the table. You're not just here because of a proposal you wrote. You're here because of your vision, your creativity, and your ability to inspire." His words hit me harder than I expected. I had been so focused on the pressure to succeed that I had forgotten the core reason why I had gotten this far. My passion, my ideas, and my ability to create something from nothing. It wasn't about fitting into a mold or living up to some ideal. It was about trusting myself and embracing the journey I was on. Liam continued, "You've come a long way from that day in the lobby, Emma. You didn't just stumble into this role. You earned it. And if you mess up, that's okay. You'll learn, you'll grow, and you'll come back stronger. But if you're too afraid to fail, you'll never get anywhere." I nodded slowly, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. It wasn't about perfection. It was about progress, growth, and the willingness to try, even when it felt uncomfortable. As the day wore on, I found myself thinking more about Liam's words. He was right. I had spent so much time doubting my abilities that I had forgotten the reason I had been hired in the first place. My creativity, my willingness to take risks, and my ability to bring new perspectives to the table. I had made it this far by doing things my way, and I wasn't about to stop now. That evening, as I sat at my desk, working through a new idea for an upcoming project, I received a message from Liam. "Good job today, Emma. Your proposal is exactly what we needed. Keep it up. The message was simple, but it meant everything to me. It was a reminder that I was on the right path. And more importantly, it was a reminder that I wasn't alone in this. Liam believed in me, the team believed in me, and, for the first time, I truly believed in myself. The next day, I walked into the office with a renewed sense of purpose. I wasn't just going through the motions anymore. I was fully committed to the work I was doing, to the team I was a part of, and to the vision I had for my future. As I sat down at my desk, ready to take on the next challenge, I realized something profound. It wasn't the wrong code or the access card that had led me here. It was my own determination, my willingness to push past my fears, and my belief that I had something valuable to contribute. I wasn't just Emma, the girl who had grabbed the wrong coat. I was Emma, the woman who had earned her place in this world. And I wasn't going anywhere. The days had started to blend together, but in the best possible way. My life had changed so much since that moment in the lobby. The girl who had grabbed the wrong coat now found herself in charge of overseeing a significant project at the company. With each passing day, I grew more confident in my abilities, though there were still moments when I couldn't quite believe how far I'd come. My colleagues, who once seemed so distant and unreachable, had become my team, my allies. We were working on a new initiative that combined creativity with cutting-edge technology, and the ideas flowing from our brainstorming sessions were nothing short of electric. But as things progressed, so did the stakes. The project we were working on was ambitious, and the pressure to succeed was mounting. As the lead on the creative side of things, I had to ensure that everything stayed on track while still pushing boundaries. It was challenging, but it was exactly what I needed. It was in moments like these that I realized how much I had grown, not just in terms of skills, but in terms of my mindset. I wasn't just playing catch-up anymore. I was helping to lead this team. One afternoon, as we were finalizing some crucial aspects of the project, Liam called me into his office. The door closed behind me with a soft click, and I immediately felt the familiar mix of nerves and excitement that always seemed to accompany our one-on-one meetings. Emma, I wanted to talk about the progress you've made, Liam said, his voice steady but with a hint of something more serious. You're doing great work, but there's one thing I need you to be aware of. The project is getting a lot of attention. A lot of people are watching. I nodded, understanding the gravity of what he was saying. The higher the stakes, the more scrutiny came with it. I'm aware, I said. I'm doing my best to make sure everything stays on track. Liam leaned back in his chair, studying me for a moment. I know you are. But I also know that the pressure can sometimes be overwhelming. You've come a long way, Emma, and I want to make sure you're ready for what's coming next. It's not just about the work anymore. It's about the people who are going to be looking to you for direction. His words hit me harder than I expected. It wasn't just about executing the vision anymore. It was about stepping up and becoming the leader I had always feared I wasn't capable of being. I'll be ready, I said, more confidently than I felt. I've got this. Liam smiled, a small, approving smile that made the weight of his words feel a little less heavy. I know you do, he said. Just remember, you're not alone in this. We're a team, and we succeed together. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur. I sat at my desk, the weight of the conversation still lingering in the back of my mind. It wasn't just about the work anymore. It was about who I had become and the responsibility I now carried. Later that night, as I sat in my apartment, working through some final details for the presentation the next day, I felt a sense of clarity. I had been so focused on proving myself to others that I had almost forgotten to prove something to myself. I had come into this job unsure of my place, unsure of my worth, but now I was beginning to realize that I wasn't just here by accident. I had earned this spot, and I was ready for whatever came next. The next day, as I walked into the meeting room, I felt different. I stood tall, my shoulders square, and for the first time, I felt like I belonged. I wasn't just the girl who had grabbed the wrong coat. I was Emma, a leader, a creator, someone who was shaping the future. Liam was sitting at the head of the table, his usual composed demeanor in place. As I took my seat, he gave me a nod of encouragement. The presentation went smoothly, and when it was over, the room was filled with praise. For the first time in my career, I felt like I had truly made a difference. As I left the meeting, Liam caught my eye. You did great, Emma, he said. This is just the beginning. His words echoed in my mind as I walked down the hallway, the familiar buzz of excitement filling my chest. This was my moment. The wrong coat, The billion-dollar access card. It had all led me here. And now, I was ready to take the next step, whatever it might be. The following weeks felt like an intense whirlwind, and yet, with each passing day, I found myself becoming more comfortable in my new role. But with success came an undeniable pressure that weighed on me, a pressure to constantly prove myself. The project I had worked on was progressing well, and the team was more than enthusiastic about our ideas. But that quiet voice of self-doubt, the one I had struggled with since the beginning, had started creeping back in. I had risen quickly through the ranks, but was I really ready for this? Was I actually capable of leading this team to success? I was pushing myself harder than ever before, but sometimes, even with all the accolades and recognition, I still questioned my abilities. It was on one particularly stressful afternoon that the reality of my situation truly hit me. I was sitting at my desk, staring at the screen, reviewing some final reports before a big presentation later that evening. The office felt colder than usual, and the hum of the fluorescent lights above me only amplified the tension in the air. I was exhausted, physically and mentally. I had been working nonstop for weeks, barely taking time for myself. I glanced at my watch. It was almost 6 in the evening, and I was still at my desk. Just as I reached for my coffee mug, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Liam. Meet me in the conference room in 20 minutes. There's something I want to discuss. I put the mug back down and quickly ran through the possibilities in my head. Was this a meeting about the project? Did he want to go over the final details before tonight's presentation? Or was he going to point out something I had missed? The thought of disappointing him gnawed at me. I stood up and took a deep breath, trying to shake off the nervousness that was starting to creep in. Walking into the conference room, I found Liam already there, sitting at the table, his expression unreadable. He looked up as I entered. "Come in, Emma. Have a seat." I sat down across from him, my mind racing. For a moment, the room was silent, and I couldn't help but feel like I was about to be criticized for something. Then Liam spoke, his voice calm but serious. "I've been watching you closely, Emma. You've been doing great work. You've stepped up and taken on more responsibility than anyone expected. But I need you to understand something." I held my breath. Was he about to tell me I wasn't ready for this? "You can't do it all on your own," he continued, his tone softening. "I know you want to prove yourself, but it's okay to lean on others. It's okay to ask for help." The weight of his words hit me hard. I had been so determined to succeed, so focused on doing everything perfectly, that I had forgotten the importance of collaboration. "You're not alone in this," Liam added, his eyes steady on mine. "We're a team, and you need to trust that the people around you are there to support you. Let them help." I felt a lump form in my throat. I had always prided myself on my independence, on being able to handle things on my own. But in that moment, I realized how much I had been carrying, and how little I had allowed myself to lean on the people who cared about me. "I know," I whispered, my voice shaky. "I just don't want to let anyone down." Liam leaned forward, his expression softening further. "Emma, you won't let anyone down. You've already proven that. But don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. You're not a failure for doing that. You're just human." His words resonated with me in a way I hadn't expected. It wasn't about doing everything on my own. It was about being strong enough to acknowledge when I needed help and accepting that asking for support didn't make me weak. It made me stronger. After our conversation, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. It wasn't instant, but it was a start. I didn't have to be perfect. I didn't have to carry everything by myself. I had a team, and we were in this together. As I walked back to my desk, I felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. That night, during the presentation, I gave my all. But this time, I didn't carry the burden alone. I leaned on my team, trusted their expertise, and together, we pulled off a successful pitch. When it was over, and the room erupted in applause, I realized something important. Success wasn't just about individual achievement. It was about working together, trusting in each other, and sharing the load. Liam had been right. I didn't have to do it all on my own. As I left the office that night, the city lights glowing in the distance, I knew I was on the right path. Not because I had all the answers, but because I had learned to ask for help when I needed it. And in doing so, I had become stronger, more confident, and ready for whatever came next. The weeks that followed felt like a whirlwind, yet for the first time, I embraced the chaos. I had learned so much about myself since the day I had grabbed the wrong coat in that lobby. I was no longer the girl uncertain of her place in the world, but someone who had proven her worth in a field that once felt completely foreign to me. The projects kept coming, each more challenging than the last, and I found myself rising to the occasion every time. But there was something else, something I hadn't expected. I was starting to feel like I truly belonged. My relationship with Liam had evolved as well. What had started as a professional connection was slowly turning into something deeper, though neither of us had put a label on it. We spent countless hours working side by side, and I had come to admire not just his business acumen, but the way he carried himself, the quiet confidence that made people want to follow him. He had been my mentor, my guide, and, in many ways, the person who had helped me believe in myself when I had almost given up. But, despite our growing closeness, I kept my distance emotionally. I didn't know if he felt the same way. I didn't know if I was ready to open myself up to someone else. There were days when the idea of a relationship seemed like too much, too complicated, too risky. I had been hurt before, and I wasn't sure I was ready to trust someone again. But then, everything changed. It happened one evening when we were working late. The office was nearly empty, the only sounds the quiet hum of computers and the occasional rustle of papers. Liam and I were reviewing the final details of a major project we were about to present to investors. I glanced up at him, catching his eye for a moment before quickly looking away. He had a way of making everything feel right, even when the pressure was unbearable. As I turned back to my laptop, I felt a shift in the air, a tension that hadn't been there before. Liam stood up and walked over to my desk, his expression serious. "Emma," he said softly, his voice cutting through the stillness. "There's something I need to tell you." My heart skipped a beat, and I looked up at him, unsure of what was coming next. "What is it?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He hesitated for a moment, then spoke again. "I've been meaning to tell you this for a while now. I'm not sure how to say it, but I feel like it's time." I felt my pulse quicken. Was this it? Was he about to tell me that our professional relationship needed to end? That I wasn't what he was looking for? I braced myself, unsure if I was ready for whatever was coming. But then he continued, his words slow and deliberate. "I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I realize that I've developed feelings for you. More than just as a colleague, more than just as a friend. And I wanted to be honest with you about that." The world seemed to stop for a moment as his words sank in. My mind raced, my heart pounding in my chest. This was not what I had expected. Liam, my mentor, the person I had come to admire and trust, was confessing his feelings to me. I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. My mind was a swirl of emotions, confusion, surprise, but also something else, something I hadn't let myself acknowledge until now. "I understand if you don't feel the same way," he said quickly, sensing my hesitation. "I just needed you to know, because it's been weighing on me. I don't want to make things awkward, but I also don't want to hide this anymore." I sat there, my mind still reeling, unsure of how to respond. But then, something inside me shifted. I realized that I had been holding back, afraid of what a relationship might mean, afraid of the vulnerability it would require. But I had come so far, I had changed so much, and maybe it was time to take a leap of faith. I took a deep breath, looking up at him. "Liam, But before I could finish, he interrupted, his expression softening. "You don't have to say anything right now. I just wanted to be honest with you, and I wanted you to know that I care about you. Whatever happens next, I'll respect your decision." For a moment, I didn't speak. I just looked at him, processing everything. I realized that the walls I had built around myself, the ones that kept me from truly connecting with anyone, had been slowly coming down. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to let them fall completely. I stood up, feeling a rush of courage surge through me. "Liam," I said, my voice steady. "I think I feel the same way." His eyes widened slightly, and a soft smile tugged at the corners of his lips. "Are you sure?" he asked, as if needing reassurance. I nodded, a small smile appearing on my face as well. "Yeah, I'm sure." In that moment, everything shifted. The pressure I had been carrying seemed to ease, and for the first time in a long time, I felt truly at peace with myself. The journey that had started with a simple mistake, the wrong coat, the unexpected access card, had led me here, to this new chapter. And as Liam stepped closer, offering a quiet, meaningful smile, I realized that the leap of faith I had taken was only the beginning. Together, we could face whatever came next, both professionally and personally. And for the first time, I was ready to embrace it all. As the months passed, Emma and Liam's relationship deepened both professionally and personally. The lines between their work life and their growing connection were beginning to blur, and Emma found herself in a place she had never thought possible, completely at ease with the challenges ahead. The company continued to flourish, and the project that had once seemed daunting was now being hailed as one of their most successful. The feeling of fulfillment Emma had been searching for was finally within reach, not just because of her career, but because she was learning to embrace her personal life as well. They worked side by side, tackling challenges, celebrating successes, and leaning on each other when the pressure got too heavy. It was a balance Emma had never experienced before, one that felt equal parts exhilarating and comforting. One morning, as they prepared for another high-stakes meeting, Liam pulled her aside. "There's something I've been thinking about," he said, his voice serious but warm. Emma looked at him curiously. "What is it?" she asked, sensing the weight behind his words. He hesitated for a moment before speaking. "You've made such an incredible impact here, Emma. Not just with the project, but with everything you've done for the team. You've grown into a leader in ways I didn't expect, and I think it's time you took the next step." Emma felt her heart skip a beat. "What do you mean?" she asked, unsure where this conversation was headed. Liam smiled, a quiet pride in his eyes. "I'm offering you the chance to lead your own team, to take charge of an even bigger initiative within the company. I know you're ready for it, and I know you'll succeed." The offer hung in the air for a moment, and Emma's mind raced. She had come so far from the girl who had stumbled into this world, unsure of her place. Now, she was being offered the opportunity to lead, to shape the future of the company in her own image. For the first time, she realized that all the doubts, all the fears she had harbored about her worth had been replaced with something much stronger: confidence. "I'm ready," Emma said, her voice firm with conviction. Liam's smile widened. "I knew you would be." The next few weeks were a blur of excitement and preparation. Emma worked tirelessly to assemble her new team, handpicking individuals who shared her vision and passion for innovation. She was no longer just a part of the team. She was leading it, guiding her colleagues toward a shared goal. The transition wasn't without its challenges. There were moments when Emma doubted herself, but with every setback, she found herself stronger, more determined. She had the support of her team, and, more importantly, she had the support of Liam. Their relationship had grown even closer. They were no longer just colleagues. They were partners in every sense of the word. As Emma settled into her new role, she found herself reflecting on how far she had come. The journey had started with a simple mistake, grabbing the wrong coat. But that mistake had led her to everything she had achieved so far. She had learned that life wasn't about having everything perfectly planned out. It was about embracing the unexpected, taking risks, and trusting yourself. As the company moved forward, Emma knew that she wasn't just a part of something bigger. She was helping to shape it. And for the first time in her life, she felt like she had truly found her place in the world. The work was hard, the stakes were high, but Emma had never been more confident in her ability to rise to the occasion. With Liam by her side, she knew there was no limit to what they could achieve together. The journey had been unpredictable, but it had led her to exactly where she needed to be. And in that moment, Emma realized that the real reward wasn't the success she had found in her career or the accolades that came with it. The real reward was the person she had become, the person who had learned to embrace change, to trust in herself, and to never back down from the challenges that lay ahead. In this compelling story of growth and transformation, we follow the journey of a young woman who unexpectedly finds herself on the path to success in the high-stakes world of business. Starting with a simple mistake, grabbing the wrong coat in a lobby, this tale unfolds into one of the most inspiring millionaire stories, where personal challenges are overcome through determination and ambition. The story takes us through moments of doubt and self-discovery, as our protagonist learns to lead, embrace her own potential, and build a future she never imagined. Alongside her mentor, a successful millionaire, she navigates the complexities of corporate life, proving that with the right mindset and the willingness to take risks, anyone can achieve success. This is one of those millionaire stories that shows how a single act of kindness or chance encounter can change a life forever. As the story unfolds, we see the protagonist stepping into her new role with confidence, realizing that the real reward lies not just in professional achievements, but in personal growth and transformation. The millionaire stories we hear about often begin with unlikely circumstances, and this one is no exception, showing that it's not about where you start, but how you embrace the journey. In the end, this is more than just another success story. It's a powerful reminder that life's most extraordinary achievements often come from the most unexpected beginnings. If you're drawn to tales of personal growth, ambition, and the incredible journeys that lead to success, this is a millionaire story that you won't want to miss.